Hello, welcome to the sequel talk. So, for a while now, Killer Woods has been out, and thank you for picking up the Blu-ray, or you're watching this on YouTube later, because I don't agree that everything should be behind a paywall. So, yeah, let's talk about the sequel to Killer Woods. Yeah, believe it or not, there is a sequel. Um, Let me explain how Killer Woods even became a project anyway. After an actress couldn't make it for the filming of the movie we were supposed to shoot, I ended up deciding, hey, what if I made something else? So I had 15 hours. Well, not 15 hours. I had maybe about 18 hours to write something new. So that's what I did. I wrote something completely new. I have a friend of mine. I have a really close person in my life who I can let people read scripts to, and I let her read the script to both films. So I let her. So there's a movie called Threatened we were supposed to make. It was kind of similar plot, which I'll explain. Threatened was about a pop punk band who was looking to go film their very first music video, only to be stalked by a killer. Um, yeah, sounds kind of stupid, but it was supposed to be stupid. It was supposed to be a comedy horror film. There's a lot more comedy than horror, and it was meant to be completely different. The names didn't change. Actually, the names stayed when we shot both films. Yeah, fun times. But let's talk about Killer. Oh, and let me say, the person that read both scripts, she loved Killer Woods a lot more. So what does that tell you? Maybe it was a better script. I don't know. I like both, so let's talk about. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes. By the way, I'm assuming you've seen Killer Woods, or you want to be watching this documentary or feature on the sequel talk. And if you haven't seen it and just curious, hey, welcome. Just know there's spoilers ahead. So, Killer Woods opened up with a group of friends, Rebecca, Tara, and Matthew. And these friends are talking about their missing friend Travis. Travis was actually the only name that changed because in the script, the killer didn't have a name and threatened. It just was the killer. So Travis, I gave him a name for this film. So there you have it. There's some inside scoop. After they meet up and talk, we see little glimpses of the killer here and there, which I really wanted to ask the show what was going on in the woods that was going to be around them. After a little bit, we do meet another character named David. David is a character played by CJ, who's a really cool dude. By the way, CJ's the one that even was keeping up on me, like, hey, when are we filming Threatened? When are we filming this? When are we film? I don't know, man. Before we actually had the finished script for Threatened, I actually had 6 different ideas for a title like that. So that's why it eventually became a comedy horror film about a pop punk band. I was like, huh, I'm gonna have 2 musicians. At the time, it was gonna be 3 musicians in Threatened. It was gonna be an actress who sings. Obviously, her name is Mandy. I love her. She's great. We're gonna have uh, Armani. She actually had a very, very small role in Threatened. Her role was only supposed to be an opening kill, similar to Drew Barrymore in Scream. So that's why I thought that would have been cool. But now we're talking about the original movie. Let's go back to Killer Woods. So there's this sense of urgency. There's like this sense of upsetness and drama. Rebecca's trying to call her friend Travis on the phone, which is again one of the scenes in the movie, and no answer. She leaves him a voicemail and all that fun stuff. Tara and Matthew talk a lot, and then David shows up, like I said, and Rebecca shows up, and they go on their little friend group, and then they split up. Doing this, Matthew and Tara stumble upon a stuffed cow. Yeah, that was Ferdinand's cameo. There's a thing in the local music scene named Ferdinand the Cow, and we threw him in the movie because why not? Yeah, something stupid. Rebecca is then jumped and taken captive by our killer, who ends up tying her to a tree and holding her hostage until Tara shows up and tells her that the killer can't speak anymore, which ends up being Travis. So after Tara tells Travis to go find the other two characters, well, he does, and he takes Matthew away, thinking he's gonna kill him, and think he's gonna kill him in the spot where they're holding Rebecca. Everyone is taking into the middle of the little circle path thing. Everyone shows up. Travis betrays Tara and stabs her, and Rebecca chases after him. Now we're getting near the end of the film. It's not a lot that happens in 6 minutes. I know, it's crazy. So, after Travis walks off, after Rebecca tries to plead with him to come back with her, he just walks on away. So, yeah. Then Rebecca meets back up with Matthew. Matthew has tied Tara up and basically is holding her there captive until she wakes up, even though she had been stabbed, not sure if she was going to be awake. Matthew says she tried to go for the knife, but she's already knocked out, and it's just like, well, damn, what's going to happen? Finally, we get the big reveal that Travis wasn't the only killer with Tara. David, who is played by CJ, actually comes back and tells him that his mission has been complete. Travis removes the mask and hands him the mask and the dagger, and that's the last time we ever see of the movie. Yeah. Now you're probably wondering, what would the sequel would have been like? What is the sequel like? Believe it or not, I didn't know there was going to be a sequel. After we got done shooting, me and Hunter, who played Matthew, went to Texas Roadhouse for a celebratory meal where we chatted about the film, we chatted about bands and local music, and basically what else we could talk about. And we never brought up sequel. It was again CJ who brought up sequel. So CJ, let me tell you about a sequel that I had in mind, and you guys, let me tell you, the sequel would pick up maybe 25 minutes after the film ended. Or if that was the original goal. Tara was going to escape from her bonds, and then she was going to try and find them. She was going to go try and find Rebecca and Matthew. And then she was going to try and work with David, because obviously she knew David was evil. So she finds David. They try to get Travis to come back and help them. Travis was finally going to talk, and Travis was going to help them as well. However, this doesn't end well for either one of them, because David's got a secret up his sleeve he doesn't tell them about. The secret being that he's planning on running away. He's planning on running away to make it look like he's still with Rebecca and Matthew as friends. But later on down the road, when it's revealed that he's evil, he kills Matthew and tries to kill Rebecca. Rebecca barely escapes, and there's a fight between Tara and Rebecca. Rebecca also barely escapes from that, but Tara, she's fatally wounded by the dagger finally, and she dies from her wounds. Very dark, right? It's still going to be a comedy horror film with drama, but less comedy at that point. So there you have that. Travis tries to help Rebecca heal herself, despite the fact that he just tried to help kill her minutes prior. Rebecca is very, not happy and even tries to tell him no. So this is why everything, this is why it happens like that. So, yeah, definitely scary for sure. After it's revealed that after David finds out that Tara was killed, David wants to then hurt his other friends. So, yeah, it's definitely dark. David sees that Travis is really caring about Rebecca. David betrays Travis and kills Travis and tries to kill Rebecca. Rebecca barely makes it out alive. But what about David? well, she doesn't go after David. David is after he murders Travis, he runs off into the distance. We don't know what happens to him. We wonder what he's been planning. Rebecca's about to leave the woods, only to then fall to her wounds. Damn. You might be thinking, like, well, what about her wounds? Weren't they treated by Travis? Well, yes and no. Yes, they were, but he slipped something. He slipped some drugs into the medicine that he was using. This sounds so fucking far-fetched, I know. And it finally, it like attacks her, like, it attacks her body in a way that's like, she just collapses. And we see David looking on from afar, wearing the same mask and holding the same dagger that Travis had throughout the first film. So while everyone ends up dying in the end, and not, this is to prevent a third film. Of course, now you could say, well, then we can file David as the killer. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. We'd only do a part 2, and that's why it's called the sequel talk. Now, obviously, I've had other ideas for a sequel, one that would end up having to work due to circumstances, but I'm not going to talk about that one here, because that one might happen, but it probably won't. It all depends on interest from everybody that was in the cast of the first film. I know CJ's always shown interest. I've shown interest in kind of making it, but it would all just depend on circumstances. If everybody wanted to do it, I would not. Me personally, I had a really fun time making it, and I had a lot of fun editing it, had a ton of fun color correcting it. What you guys are going to see over the next few times of the Killer Woods bonus features is there's a sad boy version. The sad boy version is an emo-like version where it's just blue filters with rain. I think it's a really, really cool concept. I think it's really, really stupid edited, but it's one of the easiest editings to do. Just put the full film back into the editing bay, and then splice the credits where it would be the credits, and then just put the filters of the blue and then the filters of the rain, and just work there, and then just export it after it's done. That's pretty much all you'd have to do, and I think it's the easiest thing to do. So yeah, I'm also working on a commentary track for the film by me. I'm hoping to get a cast commentary, which I don't know if possible, and I would love to sit down everybody and interview them for new interviews for the film, which I also don't believe is a it's a possibility, but I don't know who would be down and what's going on with that. But I hope you all enjoyed this little behind the scenes documentary, kind of talk about the sequel. As much as I would love to work on it, it would just have to be product of circumstance. So we'll have to see. If everyone's schedules line up, cool. But I would have to write it first, and then after that, it's just like, well, there we go.